Hello bachcho, how are you? I hope you all are fine and here this is your chemistry mentor Ayush Sharma who is an ex-career point faculty. Right now we are going to study about the oxidation number. In this short videos we are trying to cover each and every small topics from basics to advanced in a short clips in a short video ranging from 10 to 15 minutes. In this we will cover from basic to advanced, so no need to worry about that whether it is sufficient for advanced or not. Then let's start the topic. The topic is oxidation number. The question is, what is oxidation number? First try to understand what is oxidation number. It is the real or imaginary number, or we can say that charge present on an atom or on the atoms of the molecule, comma radicals, when we consider these molecules to be 100% ionic. Remember one thing, there are certain molecules which are not ionic, they are covalent in nature and forms a covalent bond. But while deciding or while finding or while calculating the oxidation number, we assume them to be 100% ionic. This may be a real charge on an atom or an ion, or it may be a false or an imaginary charge on an atom or an ion. And now we will understand through the examples that how the molecule or the atom which have the charge and what will be their oxidation number. Now start with the example, that is NaCl. If anyone will ask you what is the oxidation number of Na and Cl over here, it is very obvious that this is an ionic compound, this is an ionic compound, and we know that when we will put this ionic compound in water, it will dissociate into Na plus plus Cl minus, and when you put it in the water you will get the actual charge on it, because when you are taking the NaCl and solid NaCl, then there is no charge on it because it is in the form of compound. The plus charge of Na plus gets neutralized with the Cl minus. So to obtain the charge on Na and Cl, we have to put it in the water, because water is a polar solvent. Water is a polar solvent, and polar solvent have tendency to dissociate these ionic compounds into their constituent ions. And when they get dissociated, but obviously you will get the charge on Na and the charge on Cl, and these actual charges are considered as oxidation number. So if anyone will ask you what is the oxidation number of Na in NaCl, just say that it is +1. What is the oxidation number of Cl in this NaCl? Just say that this is -1. Here this oxidation number are equals to their charges, but it is not necessary everywhere that the oxidation number will equals to the charges. Why? Because there are the chances that there is no charges on the atom present in a molecule. For example, if we will talk about HCl, and I will and if we want to know what are the charges on H and Cl, there are not present over there. Why? Because they form a covalent bond, that is H and Cl forms a covalent bond where hydrogen share its one electron and chlorine share its one electron and leads to the formation of covalent bond. By seeing this, you cannot predict about the charges, but you know one thing. You know one thing, that hydrogen is less electronegative. This is En. And chlorine is more electronegative. And chlorine is more electronegative. And you know that the more electronegative atom will have tendency to attract the shared pair of electron. So a slight negative charge on chlorine and slight positive charge on hydrogen will appear. But the exact charge is not over there. So when you put these type of molecules in water, they may dissociate into H plus and Cl minus. That is why I had written that we consider these molecules to be 100% ionic. Because if we won't consider this molecule to be 100% ionic, then there will always a slight positive and slight negative, instead of this complete positive and this complete negative charges. Instead of these complete positive and these complete negative charges. Are you getting the point? So in case of polar molecule only, in case of polar molecule only, you will find this type of concept. But what will happen? But what will happen if the molecule is not polar? What will happen if the molecule is not polar? Like if we consider an example of nitrogen, that is N2. There is a covalent bond between end and end, that is triple covalent bond. But if we will see, there is no electronegativity difference. The electronegativity difference between them is 0. So if we want to know what is the charge on N over here and what is the charge on N over here, by putting this nitrogen in H2O, we won't get any result. We won't get any result. So what to do now? So what to do now? Now we will consider there is no charge. Means charge is 0. And if charge is 0 over here, then we can easily say that the oxidation number of nitrogen over here is also 0. So the concept of assuming 100% ionic, it is more correct in case of polar covalent molecule, not in case of non-polar. Because non-polar molecules are those where electronegativity difference are 0. These type of molecules are considered to be non-polar. For an example, you can say that if the molecule consists of only same type of atom, then it is considered as non-polar. If the molecule consists of different types of atom of different element, then it is considered as polar molecule. Are you getting the point over here? So in this short manner, you can decide what is the oxidation. But I want to give you a note point over here. I want to give you a note point over here. Now the question is, what is note point over here, sir? The note point number 1, and it is the last, you can say that it is a type of Gyan ki baat. It is a type of a Gyan ki baat, or we can say that is an important point. The important point is that most of the students don't know that this oxidation number concept is only theoretical. Is only theoretical. You cannot find out. You cannot find out the oxidation number. The oxidation number experimentally. Experimentally. If anyone is thinking that we can find out the concept of oxidation number or the oxidation number of an atom in a molecule, it is impossible to calculate it with a practical or an experimental method. It is only theoretical. It is only present on pen and paper. Is it clear? You cannot find out. It does not have any experimental significance. Is it clear, my dear students? So this is the concept of oxidation number. Now, one point more I want to add here, that then why we are studying this oxidation number concept. Very important. While you are studying any topic, first questions comes in your mind, that why we are studying the oxidation number concept. Why we are studying oxidation number concept? What is the requirement? Oxidation number concepts requirement. Why anyone has proposed this conceptual or theoretical concept in chemistry? The answer is this. The answer of this question is this, that in case of mole concept, we know that we have to first balance the reaction, and then we apply the concept of unitary method over there. And while applying the concept of unitary method, you can find out the quantity of every element or a compound very easily. But the main and necessary requirement of that particular condition is that you have to balance it. Without balancing, you cannot find out, because without balancing, you cannot apply the unitary method concept. So what to do here? If we won't want to, if you don't want to balance the reaction, and then also you want to find out the quantity or the quantitative analysis you want to do, that if X amount of reactant is over there, then what is the amount of product? Without balancing, if you want to find out what amount of product will be formed, then we have to apply the concept of oxidation number. Not directly, but indirectly. Why? Because while solving those type of question, you have to apply the concept of equivalence. You have to apply the equivalent concept. And to calculate the number of equivalents, you have to apply the concept of n factor. You requires n factor. You requires valency factors, and this n factor and valency factor are further calculated with the help of oxidation number. With the help of oxidation number, you cannot find out directly. You have to apply the concept of oxidation number in order to find out n factor or the valency factor. Not everywhere, but wherever the concept gets complex, there you have to apply the concept of oxidation number in order to find out n factor or valency factor, and after that you can find out number of equivalents, and further by applying the concept of equivalence, you can find out the quantity of product formed after using the x gram of reactant, or how much amount of reactant is required to form a particular amount of product. Without balancing the reaction, you can find out. So this is overall introductory session of an oxidation number, where we have talked about what is oxidation number, what is the requirement, and many more things. And in the next session, we will study about the rules which are designed to find out the oxidation number. So stay tuned with us to get each and every concept in a short and in a tricky manner, in a best conceptual manner. Is it clear? Which will very helpful in clearing JEE Mains, Advanced, and NEET, and all any kind of exams, and to clear your concepts, even boards. You can view this. Is it clear? And for that, you have to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Is it clear? Thank you, my dear students. We will meet in your next session.